Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. In today's episode, we're going to talk about entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, startups. You know, I know it's not easy being a startup company. I know it's not easy being an entrepreneur, but there's a great reward in being an entrepreneur if one can remain committed, can remain dedicated, and remain focused because not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Not everyone can become an entrepreneur. So it's always good to have to put things in perspective and say, I am here and I'm doing this stuff, and there's a purpose in which I've been called to do this stuff. However, there has been a couple of questions that I've had over the course of many months now, years, burning in my heart that I want to ask entrepreneurs. I want to know, what is your most challenging among these four capitals: financial capital, human capital, technological capital, market capital. What do you find the most challenging to have access to? What do you find, or what is your strategy in going about obtaining and having all or some of the capitals I've just mentioned? Because your access and your possession of these capitals will depend on your strategy. What is your strategy? But it also happens that in today's economy, in today's entrepreneurship, no one can ever survive, no company, no entrepreneur, no startup will ever survive without having a technological advantage or have a technological know-how that can help him or her or help them to innovate, to be ahead of the curve, just to be able to compete, because it's about competition. And without you having technology, it will become very hard for you to build capabilities. And without you building capabilities, there's no way you can survive in the game. It's just that simple. So you need all of them, all of these capitals. You need finance to acquire technological capital. You need human capital that have the skills and the ability to handle the technology, to handle the technological capital that you have. And you also need the market that is ready to accept your technological capital that you have innovated. So I believe all go hand in hand. But I want to know from everyone out there, once I post the podcast, please feel free to comment and feel free to get back to me, because I want to hear from entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are the engine of our economy. Without entrepreneurs, jobs won't be created. Without entrepreneurs, taxes won't be paid, and therefore there will be no government. Although government can print money, but even they print money, the money that the government will print will be devalued. It will be useless. Unlike some countries, because if you go to some third world countries, you see, they call millions and billions, and when you convert it to the Western currency, like for example the euros or the dollars or the pounds, you find out just about maybe $100. And they're telling you millions, because the currency has no value, it's useless, even though the government can print it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it is hard time we begin to celebrate our entrepreneurs, those people that have taken the risk, and that have taken the burden upon themselves to do something that will benefit mankind, that will eventually advance, the human evolution to the next generation. And therefore, I want people to be encouraged to know that they're doing something noble, they're doing something worthy. If you are an entrepreneur, you gotta keep pushing, you gotta keep going, and let nothing deter you, because ever before you were born, and ever before you ever conceived the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, there is something that put the idea into you. And that is where I want to come into thoughts. You see, I've come to realize in life that thought is everything. Look around you, look at from the heart on your head to the boot on your feet. They're all as a result of somebody's thoughts. The car you drive is as a result of somebody's thought. Food that you eat, the drink that you drink, the house that you sleep, the car that you drive, the plane that you fly, everything around you are as a result of somebody's or someone else's thoughts. So the question is, what is your thought? And because you have the thoughts to become an entrepreneur, to innovate, or to bring something, to create something that will serve mankind in whatever form, way or fashion. It could be a service. It could, for example, Amazon doesn't manufacture anything. Airbnb doesn't manufacture anything, and the list goes on and on. Nobody, they don't manufacture anything, but yeah, they're serving the needs of people. So it is the thought in you is not just as a result of you, coming up with something, but there is, because that thought is already connected to the divine mind. There's something that put that thought in you to become an entrepreneur, to create something, either a service or an artifact that will benefit mankind. And so therefore thought to me is everything. Thought is so powerful. I always tell folks, when I train people on strategy, I always tell people that that whatever state you are, whether you're poor or you're a millionaire, billionaire, or you're striving to become one, or whatever state you are, it's as a result of your thoughts. It's as a result of your thoughts. Because your thoughts create. And if you can persist in that thought, it will harden into facts. It's just as simple as that. So your thought is a creative force. Your thought is a creative power in you. And therefore, anyone that says that he or she is in this state or in that state is because he or she, is as a result of his or her thought. If somebody's thought is about fear, lack, disappointment, setback, that's what he or she is going to produce in his or her life, because there is no way he or she can have a positive thought to become creative, to become positive, to become innovative, to become helpful to others, because all he or she sees is failure, lack, fear, disappointment, And so therefore, people have to remember that life is a state. Some people are in the state of wealth. Some people are in the state of health. Some people are in the state of poverty. Some people are in the state of sickness. Some people are in the state of lack. Some people are in the state of fear. Some people are in the state of religion. Some people are in the state of faith. Some people are in the state of believing. Some people are in the state of unbelieving, and people can move from one state to another depending on your thoughts. You can be sick today and you have a positive belief that you'll be healed. You can move yourself from being ill to being healthy. Likewise, anyone can move him or herself from the state of poverty to the state of being wealthy or having enough. Okay? So the entrepreneurs that I want us to celebrate, they move from one state They moved from the states of fear, the states of setback, the states of pessimism. They moved from the states of setbacks into a new state through the power of their thoughts and saying they believe, they begin to have a positive outlook. They began to have, they began to be courageous. They began to be bold, because I read a book that says we've not been given the spirit of fear, but the spirit of boldness. And also in the same book, there's a place it says Joshua, he said, I've set before you life and death. So choose life that you may live, And in the same book, it says, Joshua set before the people to whom they may serve, And Joshua said, to me and my household, we've chosen to serve the divine. We've chosen to serve. We've chosen to serve the power of boldness and not the power of fear. So to say, So it's either in your thoughts you decide to serve fear, or you may decide to serve faith, believe. You may decide to serve optimism. You may decide to serve abundance or surplus, progress, success, or you may decide to serve failure, setback, disappointment, lack, fear, etc. As a business, you need all the four capitals to survive. You need the financial capital, you need the human capital, you need the technological capital, and you need the market capital, which are your customers. So you need all the four capitals in order for you to succeed as a business. But my question then is, which among the four capitals is more difficult and more challenging to get or to have access to as a business, and why is it so? And can you tell me what is causing, the hindrance, or what is causing the inaccessibility to their resources, and how can that be avoided for the next generation of entrepreneurs that are trying to access that capital that they need in order for them to survive, in order for them to deliver the goods and the services? Please, folks, leave me a comment as to what you think. In addition, I do believe that all the four capitals need to work hand in hand in order for any business to succeed. However, some will play a greater role, but all will play an equal role or equal roles in order for any business to succeed, because if it tilts to one side, or if one form of capital has a dominant force within an organization, the organization will tilt to one side, and there will be imbalance. And once you have an imbalance, that will begin to cause some other ripple effect within the operation or within the organizational strategy and things like that. So therefore, folks, I want you to leave me a comment, because I want to understand the phenomenon, and the impact all of these capitals have and the role that they play. A lot of folks have emphasized that financial capital is the most critical and the most difficult to access and most difficult to get. Why? Because a lot of folks who have the financial capital in their disposals are either they don't want to take the risks, or they just feel they want to curtail it, and oftentimes they ration the financial capital, either through favoritism or through personal personal preferences, because they don't want to invest in certain sector of the economy, and therefore they don't want to risk their capital in that sector And also they don't want to also go into details as to releasing the capital to certain people or certain firms, you know. Furthermore, can one form of capital be the controlling factor, become a controlling capital among all the capitals, or how should all the capitals be handled? Shouldn't there be any dominance within the disposals of all the capitals? I have spoken to some entrepreneurs who think that, or startups who think that financial capital is where the most emphasis should be placed on, to get financial capital. Because if you have financial capital, you can always acquire all other capitals that is needed. For example, if you have financial capital, you can always acquire human capital, you can acquire technological capital, and you can acquire market capital. But is it really so? Because I've seen firms that have a lot of money that were unable to acquire human capital and unable to acquire sufficiently the technological capital they need, because you need human capital in order for you to generate technological capital. They were unable to attract talents into their company or into the organization. Therefore, I would argue that despite the fact that money is so important, or financial capital is so important to acquire all other capital, it should be taken equal measure with all other capital. There should be a balance in acquiring. I would argue that your market capital, which are your customers, the consumers, this should be the driving and the determining factor that drives your financial capital, your human capital, and your technological capital. Because it is the consumers need that drive your technological innovation, and your technological innovation drives your investment, which is your financial capital, and then that drives in return your human capital, because you need people. So therefore, I think it shouldn't just be said that it's only financial capital or finance or raising capital is the major thing. While you're raising capital, you should also measure if, for example, if you raise all the capital in the world, but yet your technological innovation or your product or services does not meet the market demand or the market needs, you're going to start from all over again, and that will be a waste of money. So you must first of all define what is going to drive your strategy. What is going to drive your strategy? Your strategy should be driven by the market, by the consumers, because then they give you insight as to what you need to produce, manufacture, or innovate for their own satisfaction. So therefore, financial capital comes at the later stage, because you need to identify the market first. And once you identify the market in terms of consumers, then you have to define the technology or the innovation that will satisfy the need of consumers. Then you'll be able to raise the fund that is needed in order for you to innovate, in order for you to feed and satisfy the need of the consumers. We all can remember the dot-com bust, when a lot of folks raised a lot of money through private equities and through other source of raising capital. And at the end of the day, they all went bust because they never defined the market. Only few organizations survived the dot-com bust of the late 90s and early 2000s, and one of those companies is Amazon. So And because why did Amazon survive? Amazon survived because he was able to tap into the needs, able to define the needs of his market. And therefore, that was Amazon's strategy, because Amazon was able to capitalize on market capital, and not just focus on financial capital. It was after he was able to build capabilities on his market capitals and human capital, then he was able to go out to the marketplace again to raise a lot of fund, a lot of capital. Some of these other firms or startups were trying to raise capital. They were concentrating, they were focusing on their energy, all their strategy was to raise capital. Venture capitalists was to raise capital, without first of all defining the market capital, that the ultimate consumers that will in the end ultimately pay their hard dollars, to consume or to buy whatever service or product they're offering to the market. Anyway, this is a very interesting conversation, and therefore I would like you to get involved. So at the end of the day, it's about your strategy. What is driving your strategy? Where are you paying more emphasis on? Or where are you concentrating on? Where is your engine on? Because you must have your engine on. Where is your engine? Is your engine at the back or at the front? Or on the sideways? Or where is your engine? You got to activate that engine, so that it can power your organization. What are your core capabilities? Have you built a capability that will give you a competitive edge? If you haven't done that, then it is time to really define your competitive advantage, because that is where you have to focus on that capital that builds your capability. Is it financial capital? Is it human capital? Is it technological capital? Is it market capital? That helps you to build the capability that will enable you to compete in the marketplace. Because at the end of the day, the market pays for value. Where and what is your value proposition? Where is your value, to the marketplace? Hello, my friends. If this has been of any help to you, please thumbs up and leave me commentaries below. In addition to that, like I always say, please share. If you think this will benefit anyone within your network or that you know, please share, because by sharing, that will help one another become better, do better, and achieve better. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, look out for each other,